Jeff's Superscript is brought to you by Black Cat Comics and Collectibles, in my opinion, the best comic shop and clubhouse on the internet. Follow them at Black Cat Burbank on Instagram and join their claim sales on Tuesdays for new books and Fridays for back issues. And don't forget to ask about joining their Stray Cats Club for special perks.
Hi, I'm Jeff, and welcome to another one of my videos where I take a look at all the new comic books coming out on either May 11th or 12th, 2021, and I ask myself the question, what one new comic book would I buy this week if I could buy just one book? I want to thank all of you who watch this video week after week. I really appreciate your support. I want to take a quick moment to encourage all of you to also watch my final order cutoff picks video. I think there's a lot of power that comes with knowing what books are hitting final order cutoff so that you can make sure to reserve your books ahead of final order cutoff so that you can make sure they're in your pull box when they come out on new comic book day. So once again, I think there's a lot of great information in my final order cutoff picks video. I think it'd be really helpful to all of you, so I'd like to encourage all of you to watch that video in addition to this one. Okay, let's go ahead and move forward with this week's content in this video. First, by taking a look back at my pick from 2 weeks ago, which was Berserker #1 third print. And the question remains, was it a worthy pick to be my just one book pick of the week? And the answer is no. No, it was not a worthy pick. I could have told you that the minute I finished the video that it was not a worthy pick. It was an anguished pick that I picked because I felt like I needed to pick it. I felt like if you were able to get that book for $5 at the time, it was worth something like, I forget, $125 or $135. It doesn't matter. A stupid amount. I actually want to give a shout out to one of our viewers, Daryl Bauman, who found a Berserker #1 third print at his shop. He bought it for cover price and then proceeded to spend $100 in the shop. Good for you, Daryl. That was the way to do it. If that shop was going to sell you that book for cover price, you got to throw that shop some business. So very, 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 very good on you. But no, I still don't think it was a very good pick. I bet you Daryl's story is one of the few that took place like that. I went into a shop that had a stack of them that they were selling for $55, and I almost thought I would scoop up every single one of them. But then I went into eBay and checked the current sale prices, and the sale prices had dropped to whatever it was, $135 or $125 when I made the video, all the way down to about $50 on new comic book day. And I was like, boy, help all those people who bought this book in advance for $125 that have now officially lost $75 per book that they purchased. In fact, the other day a friend of mine said, hey, I got my hands on 2 copies of Berserker #1 for the third print. I paid $40 a piece for those. I was like, that's pretty good. Let me check the eBay, sold prices as of today. Oh, no, wait, now they're going for $40. So the price of that book has just dropped now that they're out in the wild. So no, it was not a good pick. If you got it for $5, it's still worth $40. That's really good, but nowhere near as good as it was when I made my video 2 weeks ago. So let's just forget that ever happened and move forward with this week's books. First, by taking a look at my cover pick of the week. I had a little bit of a difficult time making a cover pick this week in a week where there is a Joshua Middleton Wonder Woman cover, which is just like gold for this cover pick usually, and also an Artgerm cover, which is more gold for this cover pick for me. But no, neither of those were my cover pick this week. My cover pick for this week is from Joker #3. This is the B cover from David Finch. Now, it's not like the most amazing art to me, but it was just really, really working for me. The idea of putting Joker's face on what appears to be a kind of playing card type thing is not original at all, but it's working really well for me in this instance. Joker is just particularly menacing in this image for me. He has the maniacal and the frightening aspects of him really working in this image. For me, this is what the attitude of Joker should be. Like, just the kind of like so scary, and that he is just loving every minute of the fear he is putting into you. And it's all there for me in this image, which is why it is my cover pick for this week. All right, we're going to now move forward with the 6 books that I am going to feature this week that I think are of interest, that we're kind of in the running for my just one book pick of the week. This was kind of an odd week. There wasn't a ton of amazing books out there. It was a little bit difficult to choose in that there weren't any standouts. But I'm just going to go ahead and go over the 6 books that interested me the most. As is now typical, these books are listed in no particular order. I'm going to start off with a book that I just talked about in my cover pick, and it is Joker number 3 from DC Comics. Here is the description. The hunt for the Joker is underway as Jim Gordon heads to a remote part of South America to run down a lead and comes face to face with the crown prince of crime himself. The mystery around A-Day deepens, but not before an attack by a bloodthirsty Samson family. And in the Punchline backup story, Punchline has to face off against the Queen of Spades' new muscle, Orca. At the same time, Bluebird's investigation at Punchline's alma mater takes a dark and horrifying turn. Joker is a book that I was really, really optimistic about when it first came out. Then I read the first issue and I was like, please don't end up being all the things that like the worst things that I feared about it. And then I read issue number 2 and it kind of reinvigorated my interest in this title. I think James Tynion IV is giving us a little bit, he's like warming us up into what this series is going to be all about. So I'm optimistic about this. It's one of the books that I have on my pull list this week that I'm excited to read and I'm looking forward to reading. So I had to include it amongst my 6 picks for this week. The next book I want to mention to you is a book called Heroes Reborn, Hyperion, and the Imperial Guard, number 1. Here's the description. The teenage Hyperion's cosmic quests with his Shi'ar friends nears their end, but none of the young heroes are ready to say farewell. A quick mission to the negative zone sounds like the perfect coda to a storied fellowship. But what awaits Hyperion, Gladiator, and the rest is horror and agony beyond their wildest nightmares. Also included in this issue, a special preview of the new spin-off series, The Starjammers. Okay, so this is one of the very first tie-ins to Heroes Reborn that's come out. I'm generally pretty interested in Heroes Reborn. This story sounds like it could be an interesting story. This one focuses on Hyperion, who's a member of the Squadron Supreme. Not very many of the tie-ins focus on those characters. They tend to focus on characters that we already know in their new kind of alternate reality persona. But so this story sounds interesting, and it sounds like it could be a nice complement to the Heroes Reborn event that is taking place. But even more importantly to me is this special preview of the new spin-off series, The Starjammers. Okay, as an X-Men fan and someone who's been kind of specking on the potential future of the Starjammers, I'm excited to see that we're getting Starjammer-focused content from Marvel Comics. So I'm interested in finding out more about that preview and what else is to come. But once again, the main parts of this book, the Hyperion elements of the book, sound interesting to me as well. The next book I want to mention to you is DC Festival of Heroes, the Asian Superhero Celebration number 1. This is a 100-page giant. Here's the description. Grab your favorite boba and pull up a chair to the dim sum table as we celebrate Asian Heritage Month with all your favorite Asian DC characters, old and new. Join Cassandra Cain, Katana, Green Lantern, Tai Pham, The Atom, Dana Tan, aka Batman Beyond, Red Arrow, Lady Shiva, Damian Wayne, and the Al Ghul clan, new Superman, and more as we present new tales of these characters from their thrilling history. Plus, Cheshire Cat's relationship to Cheshire is revealed as Shoes asks Selena Kyle to take her under her wing as Catgirl. And that's just the start. Okay. We've talked about these kind of culturally themed books or socially themed books previously, and I have the same thing that I'm going to say now that I always say. I'm really glad they're doing these types of books. I think there are certain groups, certain characters, certain artists and writers that can benefit from increased exposure and visibility, and I'm really glad when DC and other people put these types of books out. So kudos for that. But ultimately, what it boils down to is, are they going to be good stories, well told and well executed? That remains to be seen. You know, this is various artists, various writers, so there's likely to be some hits and some misses. But if you like these characters, if you like what they're doing socially, there are many reasons why you might consider picking up this book this week, and that is why I wanted to go ahead and feature it. The next book I want to point out to you is Future State Gotham, number 1 from DC Comics. Here's the description. The event that was DC Future State continues in its own ongoing title starring the Bat family, beginning with the epic story Hunt the Batman. Disaster strikes Gotham City, and all evidence points to the next Batman. Red Hood must choose justice over his family and allies when the corrupt magistrate enlists him to bring in the new Batman, dead or alive. Featuring the entire cast of the popular Future State Batman titles, this new series kicks off the next chapter in this forbidding world of tomorrow, and does so in brilliant monochromatic storytelling. This black and white series will showcase the brutal world that's around the corner in Future State Gotham. So, Future State was not a flash in the pan. Future State is here to stay. I mean, I just have it right here. I'm going to grab it. I just finished reading Batman this morning, this newest issue of Batman, and it's like clearly the events of Future State are not one-offs. That wasn't just a one-off kind of what-if scenario. The DC world that we know now is building toward this future. Now, of course, it's comic books. So any kind of future-altering thing could happen at any point and have it not pay off. But it does absolutely seem like we are leading up to what happened in the stories of Future State. And if you liked, Future State, the next Batman, if you're a big fan of all things Gotham and all things Batman, this could be a fun, interesting book to check out. Like I said, clearly Future State is here to stay, and this is evidenced in it with this book even just existing. So it could be pretty cool. It could be worth checking out if you're a big Batman Gotham fan. And I just got to throw in, as a side note, DC must be just loving the fact that Batman is a character right now, because if it wasn't for Batman, and if it wasn't for basically the mini world within DC of Gotham City and all of the characters that take place, that exist in that world, I don't think DC would exist anymore. So that's just a little bit of a side note. So thank you, Batman, for keeping DC afloat. But this is an interesting book. You might be interested in it this week. Okay, now we are going to segue to a new special section that I want to put into this video. We've all seen Time and Time from me, and we've also seen Kate's Corner. Now we have the premiere of a new one. Yes, it's time for a little chip chat. In this little special segment, we are going to be focusing on books written by Chip Zdarsky. Chip Zdarsky is a name that I have been mentioning more and more in these videos. The more and more exposure that I get to his writing, the more and more excited I am about the work that he is doing. And there are two books of his this week which I want to feature. The first book I want to feature of his is a new book called Justice League Last Ride. This is issue number 1 from DC Comics. Here's the description. Once the most powerful group in the world, the Justice League was destroyed by tragedy and time, disbanding under a veil of mistrust and anger. Now, on the eve of the universe's greatest murder trial, the League must come together one last time. But can Superman and Batman bury the past before the cosmos' greatest villains bury them? Learn the shocking truth in this new digital-first adventure by writer Chip Zdarsky and artist Miguel Mendonça. I'm sure I mispronounced that last name, but I tried, Miguel. I tried. So, I like the Justice League a lot. The individual DC characters are hit and miss for me. But when you put them all together, I love them in that combination. I love them having to pull all of their power together to beat a foe. I always wonder, what does it take that Superman can't handle on his own, you know? So I really like Justice League themed stories. And it seems like we are getting a bit of a alternate reality, what if story that is about the Justice League. And it's already clear in the description that there's conflict there amongst the Justice League, not just external conflict. So that is of particular interest to me as well. So I'm interested in seeing what the Justice League has to get together to fight against, but then what they also have to do to overcome any kind of fighting that is happening amongst themselves as well. And in the very capable hands of Chip Zdarsky, I think that this could be a really, really cool story. So if you're a fan of the DC Universe, if you're a fan of the Justice League, even if you're fans of individual members of the Justice League, or even just a fan of good writers doing good work, you might want to consider checking out Justice League Last Ride this week. But this brings me to my pick this week for my just one book pick. And as is true in a lot of these videos, it is a deeply personal pick. This is a pick that this is the book that I would pick if I could buy just one book. There's no, like I said in the beginning of this video, there is no big standout as far as spec potential or story potential or new title for me this week. And as I was looking over all the books coming out, and as I was looking over the books that are going to be in my pull box on Tuesday and Wednesday, I asked myself, what one book would I be most excited to read? Which one is the one that I'm going to read first? Which one is the one that I could have the hardest time doing without, that I just have to have? And that week, the book that I would pick if I could buy just one book is Spider-Man Spider's Shadow #2 from Chip Zdarsky. Here is the description. What if Peter Parker became Venom? Spider-Man's vicious new approach to crime has every villain on high alert. No one is safe after Peter succumbs further to his new dark powers. Wilson Fisk wants to put an end to this deadly new spider once and for all, but who is really the one coordinating this takedown attempt? And with Peter haunted by his past each day, will someone be able to save him from his own mind? As I mentioned in my follow-up video, when Spider-Man Spider Shadow #1 was my just one book pick of the week, I really liked the first issue. It was way better than even I had initially anticipated. Chip Zdarsky did such an amazing job telling a story that I mean, we take Peter Parker down a road that is not familiar for the character. He starts going down a dark road, and it happened naturally and in an understandable way. Chip Zdarsky did such a good and natural job progressing Peter down this path, and I appreciated it so much because I like a story where I can buy that Peter Parker is going to give in to his darker tendencies. And we're just at the beginning of this story. What happens as Peter goes deeper and deeper into those darker territories? Will he become like just the epitome of evil? Will he become the darkest version of Venom that we could imagine? Is he going to end up struggling and clawing his way out of his darkness to find the light again and return as Spider-Man? You know, who knows? But I am so interested to find out. And because issue number 1 was so good, that's why when I was looking over my books for this week, I was like, the book that I am most interested in seeing what's going to happen next from a story perspective, which one most excited me, and which one I was just, I couldn't do without. Simply speaking, that is why Spider-Man Spider Shadow number 2 is my just one book pick for this week. I hope all of you, you know, either before it came out, you know, when I made my initial video about Spider-Man Spider Shadow, put it on your pull list or picked it up on New Comic Book Day, or you picked it up after the fact when I talked about it again in my follow-up to my pick. But it is really, really good. I hope you got issue number 1, and I hope you also are getting issue number 2, and I hope that you enjoy them both. If you picked up issue number 1 and you're like, Jeff, I don't know what you're talking about, it really wasn't that good, let me know that down in the comments. That's the kind of feedback I want to hear back from you. But I'd prefer that you said, Jeff, I read it, I wasn't going to read it, I thought it was fantastic, thank you so much for the suggestion. Let me know that down in the comments as well, if that's the case. As always, if you're appreciating the time I'm taking to make these videos and you like the information that I'm giving, likes are very much appreciated by me. And finally, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I invite you to do so. A great way is to hit the subscribe guy right here, but make sure you hit the notification bell so that you're informed when I post random videos which happen from time to time. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.